Okay, right, I promised a walkthrough of the Titanic formative question, which I didn't get to finish in last Wednesday's tutorial. So I'm going to go through it again. I'm going to break it down into a series of videos. There are 7 questions. The first thing you should do before you even click the begin on this formative test, certainly do this before the summative test, is make sure you got RStudio up and running and make sure you got the data set saved to the correct directory, right? So I've done that. Let me just show you what that looks like. If I click the data, it's going to take me through to a Google Drive repository, and I'm going to click download. I think I can do, yeah, just going to download that as it is. And then I'm going to open that and then save it as a CSV file in my RStudio's directory, okay? So you can see I've got a Titanic.rproj, which I created earlier. I've got a Titanic script file, and I've got my data, which I've just downloaded as well. So the first thing I want to do, before I do any questions, is read that data. And you can do all of this, in fact, before you even start the test, okay? So I strongly advise you do that. That's going to save you a bit of time. df is less than read.csv, and I'm looking for the Titanic dataset. There it is. Control and enter. Okay, so I've read that in. I've got 714 columns with all of these. So lots of things in here. The ones that I'm really interested in are things like sex, male or female, and survived, 1 or 0. So 1 means they did survive, 0 means they didn't. Okay, just a nice Boolean thing there. Fair I'm going to use in this question, and age as well. So lots of really, this is a real data set. So this is authentic data you're going to be working on. Right, what was my first question then? Let's have a look. Let's go back to the tests. And the first question was, of those that were known to have survived the Titanic disaster, what percentage were female? Okay, and I've got 4 options there. How on earth am I going to do this? Well, I'm going to create a table which contains only the females that survived, and I'm going to count the number of rows, and then I'm going to divide that by the number of rows in a table which just contains the number of people that survived. Okay, so how do we do that? Well, I'm going to do, I'll create a variable called survive female. Okay, and I'm going to filter, I'm going to subset my data frame that I've read that file into above by sex. And you've got to be really careful about what letters you're using here. So this is an uppercase S for sex, and you can double check that. There you go, uppercase. And the female is actually going to have a lowercase f, right? So another thing to important here, I've got a double equal sign here. The double equals is important. That means it's exactly equal to. If I just do a single equals here and run that, it's going to run and it's going to create another. It's going to create an identical data frame. Okay, so it's basically searched for that and it says, okay, everything in here is equal to that. That doesn't make sense. So if you put the double equals and then control and enter, you can see I've now got 261. Say there were 261 females. I don't just want the females. I want those that were female and survived. Survived equals 1. So that's gone down considerably now to 197. I want another variable called just simply survived. And this time it is subset. Survived 1. Okay, so this is just going to give me a list of all of those who survived. Now to get the, so you can do this now, the percentage of females, the percentage of those that survived that were female, which is what we're trying to answer, is simply 197 divided by 290. Okay, or you can do n row, which is going to count the number of rows in each of these data frames. Survived female divided by n row survived. Control and enter gives me a percentage, or well, I should times it by, let's do that, right? Gives me a percentage of 67.93%, right? Which is 68 to the nearest percentage, okay? So that's that one. I'm going to pause it there and I'm going to move on to the next question.